No, we get some like players like asking, because when we first started, right, we thought that like with basketball, we thought that like everyone wants to share it. Yeah. Like, but then with footy, we were like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna want to share it.
Oh man, the culture was so different.
And
going
we were
into
like,
footy.
it was like hurt our ego for sure, because we posted, and then like nobody shared it. And we're like, oh, maybe it's just like a bad day. Then we post the next day, because we try to post once a day, and we posted the next day, and it's like, oh, nobody's sharing it. And then the third day, we were like, maybe we'll. It was Kyle Lohman. So
the Brisbane Lions. We blogged.
Yeah, and he had some good games or whatever. But we posted him, and we were like, how do we get this bloke to reshare it? Because they're just not resharing it. It's just the footy culture. And so we like cut up the video and sent it to him. We're like, oh, here mate, like here's the vid, and he's like, oh thanks, and just nothing happened. And we're like,
no. The most painful bit was a AFL player currently. I won't name any names, but ended up resharing it, and we were just like, finally, someone reshared it, and then the next morning, gone. Just gone.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there just like, man, this is hopeless. Like,
it's a rare reshare. It's a rare like we do get them sometimes though. It depends. Like if you do a team one, and the players like kind of involved but not really, then they'll post
it. Q Bears and everyone's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So but besides that, but sometimes we'll get players like that have a specific clip that they want, and then like we'll send them that. But like it's rare. We I don't know. We want to like maybe.
It's just the culture though. Like 50% of our comments in the first 6 months was just, oh, bit of me time, mate. Like you love a bit of me time.
Bit of me time, yeah.
Whereas in basketball, it's such a different culture. Totally. It's like it's kind of taken on that American, like, not ego, but want to get myself out there. So if we post the kid that plays in VJBL, so the Basketball Victoria League, man, if it doesn't get like 100 story reshares, we're just like, oh, that's a failed post. Because kids just get around it. But footy, it is starting to change, but
slowly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Prime Potty. I am honoured today to have two fantastic guests and two fantastic friends as well. They're quite popular on social media. I am very, very sure you would have seen them before. It's the Baseline Footy Boys. Can you guys actually introduce yourselves? Because I don't think a lot of people out there would actually know your names or your faces. They probably heard your voices, sometimes doing a voiceover of a clip or something, but they might not know who you guys are. So can you please introduce yourself? We'll start with you, Ix.
Yeah, so firstly, Prime, thanks for having us on.
No worries, mate.
Very happy to be here. So I'm Iggy, Baseline Iggy. I do the voiceovers sometimes. We're branching out doing some other voiceover stuff, but that's probably how you know me. Besides that, we keep a pretty low profile, and
yeah, and I'm Nate, Baseline Nate. I don't do many of the voiceovers, but
why not?
Why not?
Man, he just did it. He's got the voice for it.
He does. It's
been going well, so I just push it over to him.
I don't think I have the voice for it. I think I'll just do it.
No, you do. You actually do it well.
Mate,
oh, yeah, thanks.
Mate, I've probably had like, I'd say up to 10 kids in the last few weeks come up to me and be like, your voice isn't on the voiceovers. Who's the voiceover?
Who's the other guy?
I've never thought about making you do it, but you've got to do it sometime.
You should do it, because I think that otherwise it looks like there's just one person that does the voiceover.
That's it.
It looks like there's only one baseliner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, lads, it's fantastic to have you on. Obviously, Baseline Footy has just grown throughout Australia and probably the world as well. I don't know how many other people watch your content, but I'm sure if it's getting millions of views, there's probably going to be some sort of reach outside of Australia. So it's fantastic what you're doing for the game. You're growing not only, kind of junior careers, but also, country football, metro football. There's so many fantastic things that you guys are doing. How did Baseline Footy kind of come about? How did it begin? Where did it all start?
Yeah, so Baseline Footy, we've been doing it since we filmed the 2021, it was NAB League season.
Right.
We filmed that whole season. But if you want to take it a step back, actually I'll start. So we filmed the whole NAB League season and then started posting the end of 2021. But we'd actually started Baseline Hoops about, what was it? Like, Nate started as a trainee.
Yeah, so pretty much Baseline as a business, or as a brand, I should say, started 2019.
Yeah.
So I was just a uni student, wanted some extra income. So I actually started as a basketball training business. So I was a hooper. Iggy was a hooper growing up.
I know you're both hoopers. Yeah.
Individual training, and as kind of like a marketing thing, I was like, hey, we'll go out, film some local VJBL games, put some highlights up. Kids will share it, get more people following the brand.
Yeah.
I think in the first few weeks, we ended up getting a couple hundred messages, and from that point, we're just like, man, this could be something. Obviously, very influenced by the ball is life, the overtimes in America, nothing like that being here.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, let's just keep pushing in this direction and see where it goes. And that pretty much kicked off 2020. And then 2021, as Iggy was mentioning, kind of was like, hey, basketball is good, but footy is the biggest sport in the country. Right. I've always been a die-hard fan. Some die-hard Bombers. I know you are too.
My boy.
So we're just looking at it like, man, watching the drafts and stuff like that. You'd wake up the next morning and it's Essendon's picked up this guy. It was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You don't know who it is.
Right.
You don't know any highlights. You just see this super zoomed out, grainy footage. So we're just like, man, let's go on a footy and let's just try take over this space. And it's been pretty successful since.
Yeah. Super successful. I mean, it really did come out of kind of nowhere. And I didn't really start to see you guys until probably 2022, so last year. Is that kind of where the growth started to come from? Where did it start to really snowball and you're like, footy is baseline footy, it's got legs?
Yeah, so Nate was super smart. Like we you know, obviously now during the season, like if we film a game on a Saturday, we'll try to post it on like Monday, Tuesday, that sort of thing. So it's kind of like a live update thing. But Nate was super smart with the 2021 season. So we were filming guys like Nick Dacos, Ben Hobbs, Mac Andrew, these sorts of guys. And we didn't post, we weren't doing the live updates. We decided, all right, let's wait until the end of the season so that kind of nobody else can really compete with us in a way. And like, nobody can say, oh, these boys are doing it. Like, let me start filming as well.
Interesting.
And so by the time, like the end of the season happened, by the time we started posting or whatever, and it got to the start of the new season, we'd already had, like 10, 15,000.
I think we went into the 2022 season with about 15,000 followers, which built up over that off season, which just kind of provided like a launching pad. You're like, hey, we've already got this 15,000 gap. We've got baseline hoops, which is going pretty strong, was probably at 25,000 at that point. So for us, it was like if any other big company wants to come compete, we've already got that kind of buffer. But then it also gave us a base so that in 2022, as soon as we got rolling, people already knew it, people were sharing it, people were talking about it, and it just blew up. Like the first clip that really blew up for us was, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but Nick Watson kicked this 60-meter torp in a preseason game against Western Jets.
That.
And he looks back at the bench and he's like, drop punt or torp, and they're like, torp, and he kicks it. I think it ended up going off for 1.3 million views. And from that point on, everything just went crazy.
Because like you guys kind of started off and you knew specifically what games you were going to go to because you wanted to watch some highlight players. Who are your favorite players to kind of go and target and watch because you know that they're going to produce some highlight plays? Yeah,
well, it's obvious like we've been doing it for 3 years. So we've had the privilege of filming guys like Nick Dacos, Will Ashcroft, like all the kind of number one guys over the last 3 years. But like, I don't know, are you talking this year or over the years?
Give me a top three. Can you both give me a top three over the last 3 years? Who your most exciting was to go and produce some highlight plays for you? You knew that they were going to produce something for you.
I'll give you two, and I'll give you a runners up, and I'll give you the one. So like the top number three, probably the first season 2021. And you've had him on the pod, Ben Hobbs. So I'm from Ballarat, so I would go to a lot of Ballarat games for some reason. I don't know why, but I ended up getting like 7 GWB games.
Yeah, wow.
And he was just a powerhouse, and he was just insane. So he's probably my top three ever. Obviously, you kind of have to say Will Ashcroft.
He was just a beast, wasn't he? That year last year when he was just getting 30s and 40s and 50s, like he was ridiculous.
Yeah, you had to post him. Pretty much, we went to every game. I don't think we missed a game of Ashy.
That's crazy.
No, we'll flying up to Sydney, getting his first VFL games, and I think people were starting to think like, are these guys a bit obsessed?
That's for real.
Yeah, that's it. But so that's two, and then number three. This is a sleeper, and nobody really knows. So in that 2021 year. I did a lot of GWV games, and they don't know what I'm talking about. But there was a bloke named Marcus Herbert, and I think he's playing in for Geelong maybe now, like in their VFL side or something like that. But he was just and I don't know if he's an AFL player or not. I don't know what he's doing, what he's planning on doing or whatever. But he was the most exciting player to watch. He had the most insane highlights. and we'll have to put some up. We'll have to give some to you.
Yeah, love that.
He was elite. So he's my runner-up, and then number one. Oh, I've cornered myself here. It's either like Harley or Watto probably.
Yeah, Harley and Watto have some.
Those two.
I think it's hard to go past Harley and Watto in terms of like pure highlights. In terms of pure highlights, it's got to be Look, Watto's great because you go to a game and you're going to be guaranteed to get 2 or 3 crazy plays, whether it's a crazy goal from the pocket or a specky, whatever.
How does he do it every week? He does week in, week out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you see the highlights that we post, and it's like, geez, that's crazy. But all the highlights that we don't post that are like near misses and like near highlights, it's insane. It's actually insane.
You should actually just do a compilation of near highlights
literally.
of Watto.
Yeah, totally.
Or Harley.
Yeah. I don't know. Like both of them are nuts. Who's the top 3 though?
Similar?
Not really similar. I think in terms of like pure highlights, I think it's hard to go past Watto and Harley kind of as those top 2.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go watch Harley play in person, some of the plays he makes, man, it's just like he shouldn't be in this league anymore. It's like get him in the AFL.
Get him in the big leagues.
Get him in the big leagues.
Do you reckon that actually finish it first? Anyone else that
1, 2
that Iggy didn't mention?
I think Big Max. I think it's hard to go past in terms of like pure production. It was hard to go past Will Ashcroft last year.
Yeah.
Like I know for me especially, I was at that 51 touch game.
Yeah.
And man, just to see that performance is just insane. Like he had something like 30 touches in the first half, and you're sitting there just like, mate, this guy's in for a game,
dude.
And
he was on track for 60s.
And not even that. This isn't even a sleeper pick, but like Nick Dacos back in 2021, I did quite a few of his games, and just you see what he's doing in the AFL now, but if you were there to watch him in his under 18s, just so slippery. Like you can touch him.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go past. You knew if you're going to a Nick Dacos game that you're going to see something that you're not seeing from many other kids at that level.
Do you guys think that obviously watching people, and like you said before, Harley's probably a league above. Do you reckon that in some instances maybe the draft age could be lowered and you could be picked up as a 16, 17-year-old if you're someone like Nick Dacos or Harley Reid? Or do you think that maybe that those players aren't actually ready, more so mentally than physically, to be in the probably, I guess, the AFL and everything that surrounds that?
I reckon. Look, I don't really know. I think that there are a few exceptions. So like a Will Ashcroft, Nick Dacos, that can just week one, Harry Shea's week one come in and produce.
Right.
But I think the majority and the average of the players is probably. They're probably ready at about 18. I don't know if 17 it'd be fair to kind of.
I think it's hard to lower the age as a generic rule,
right?
Just because you see kids at 16 years old, and then let's say the top 10 players at 16 are not going to be the top 10 players at 18. So if you lowered that age, I feel like a lot of kids are going to be missing out who might be late developers. I think there is room potentially to bring in a rule that allows you to take a Harley Reid at, say, 17 years old, maybe a year before, especially boys who finish school. Like I know last year, Will Ashcroft had finished year 12 in 2021, and last season spent the whole year outside of school just preparing for the draft. Something like that, if you're born in that kind of January to April period.
Right.
I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't be able to get picked up by a club, especially if there's ties like a Will Ashcroft to Brisbane. I'm surprised he wasn't at the club more than he was.
Yeah, you could almost, I guess he was playing in their VFL side, but he probably, he could have been around the club a lot more, especially if you're a father-son and you're probably going to go there anyway.
Totally.
But yeah, so you guys you've grown to 76,000 on
last week or something.
On Instagram. I think, can you talk me through a little bit of that kind of recent success? You guys have almost, I wouldn't say changed, but more so evolved the way that your content's being produced. You're not so much just posting videos and photos of, the top APS players or schools. You're now also kind of posting some fan videos, just some random talks from the boundary line, or just like some training stuff. Talk me through how and why your content evolved that way.
For sure. Yeah. Our goal, we started just doing highlights and just covering the leagues, but what we've developed into and what we realized we can develop into is being a platform for community and for anyone to really kind of hop on the page. And if there's something big happening in footy, we kind of want to be able to cover that. And so that's come from, people send us videos all the time just through our Instagram DMs, and we're flooded with them, and it's great. And it's like, it's just, you know, some of our biggest videos are from just Instagram DMs and requests, and then us saying, like, looking at it and saying, geez, this is really good. Like, let's post this. And it might just be a local footy match. It might just be, you know, anything, or like whether it's a game winner on the siren, or, you know, massive torp or a big tackle or something like that. It's really cool. And then also we've kind of tried to develop into, you know, broadening our horizons from just the, you know, obviously we cover the talent league in Victoria pretty strongly, and then so we're kind of trying to broaden the horizons and say, like, all right, well, let's see what's happening all across Australia. Let's see what's happening. We've just done a bunch of waffle games, and like trying to get into some local footy and trying to tell stories and that sort of thing. So look, we're just trying new things and trying to just broaden the horizons. And we think that there's, you know, we're a brand that can really, you know, expand and do quite a lot of things. And so I think we do have that kind of platform, and we're just exploring it at the moment. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think for us, the biggest realization was like, look, we can only do so much. There's two of us. We've got filmers, but we can't film every kid in the state. But you go out to a country league, you go out to even a local metro league, and there's kids out there who are just, mate, they're going to be the stars of tomorrow, but we just can't cover them. So I guess for us, the mindset's just really, hey, we want to cover everything. We want to show everyone love. We want to, if you do something crazy in footy, we want to be able to show it and be the place that people can come to see it. So just giving people the opportunity to do that. And it's just been great this year, posting more of that community content. I think people are really starting to get around it, but it's something that we want to do a lot more of. So
awesome. Are you guys enjoying it, or does sometimes it get to a bit of a time where it's like almost a bit of a burden that you guys are almost the one-stop shop for all this content? There's only two of you, like you said. Do you want, one, a bigger team, and two, is it a bit of a burden sometimes to always be on every single weekend? You got to go out and watch these games and film and edit and do all that type of stuff.
Man, look, we've been doing it every day for 3 years now, almost 4. So Nate and I have a phone call. You know, we might call 2 or 3 times a day every day. We're texting hundreds of times every single day for 3 years. So it's like at this point, it's kind of ingrained in us in a little, and it's totally not a burden. I was asked by someone the other day, like, oh, do you ever get sick of watching the footy games? And I'm like, I don't even think about it like that. It's not even something that I think about. I'm like, it's just a part of me at this point.
It's a funny concept though. Like, people ask that question, and it's like, oh, do you get sick of your job being watching footy games?
Yeah.
It's like, mate, are you serious?
Do you get sick of your job, sitting in a freaking desk job all day?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you want me to go watch Excel spreadsheets?
Yeah.
You want to watch the footy? Like,
exactly.
Mate, our job's elite. This is elite.
Yeah. So like, you couldn't ask for anything really more. You know, it's great. We love it. I don't think it's a burden. No, totally not. Yeah. And you know, we want to figure out how to make this, you know, our you know, we're kind of working on it now, but we want to have a company, and we want to obviously expand the teams, you said, and you know, build out to be a, you know, something that we can work on every day with a team, and build a culture and a community around it and that sort of thing. And that's kind of our goal, I think. Yeah.
I think from everyone in Australia, we say thank you, because like what you guys have been doing is like, it's incredible. And I just thought I'd say that, because we are all, mate, we all appreciate it, and we all love watching it. Like, it's unbelievable what you guys do. Let's talk about top 5 draft prospects this year. If you could pick a top 5 who's going to get drafted this year, what would you say?
What do you got?
Man, top 5. It's a hard question, because there's so many more than 5. But let's talk.
Let's talk.
The two which are in there. So Harley will go number 1. Right. That's for sure. I think Watto sneaks into, not even sneaks in, I think he's cemented in the top 5 at this point.
Yep.
As a top 5, I think Zane Dersma, so brother of Xavier.
Right.
I think he gets in there too. His just versatility is unmatched.
Yep.
Like, we've watched in the last 2-3 seasons, and whether he's playing forward, playing back, like, he dominates wherever he goes. There's a lot of hype around a Tasmanian midfielder. So
Colby
McKercher.
Yep.
And he's just been tearing it up. Like, we did post something the other day, and first 5 games of the season, he's been averaging over 30 touches. Kicks a few goals out of the midfield.
Gee whiz.
So I think they're all, he's definitely in there. And that 5th spot, there's quite a few people. I think probably a big forward. I reckon like a a Nate Caddy out of Northern Knights or
Yep.
a Jed Walter from
Jed Walter was a superstar.
Coast.
Played against him last year and he kicked like 5 goals on us.
Against him.
Yeah,
Played against him.
he's a superstar. And I was looking at him like, this bloke's a beast.
Yeah, he's massive.
And he's 16.
He's 16. Yeah.
I was like,
Man, you see some of these kids in the talent league, and they're not 18-year-olds.
I was like, it was him and Liam Jones playing in the forward line, and he was better than Liam Jones. Jones in the AFL again, and I'm like, this bloke's a bloody superstar.
He'll be really good.
He'll be a superstar. And my boy Darcy Wilson is I reckon going to be in that 6 to 8 kind of spot as well. So yeah, it's a very exciting list. But
It is.
Man, what's crazy though, talking on Jed Walter, is that Gold Coast Suns. So I think I'm not 100% around the rules, but like the Gold Coast Suns, anyone in their academy, they get dibs on.
Yeah.
And this year, like they've got Jed Walter will be a top 5 guy who they'll pick up.
Yeah.
They've got Jake Rogers, who just won Australia under-18s MVP.
Right.
So he's come out of nowhere. Like I reckon he was probably maybe a second rounder coming into the season, maybe a bit higher. People might laugh at me for saying that. But he started the season just been unbelievable. He's up there now. And then they've got another kid, Ethan Reed, who is also Australia under 18s. And I think there was a recent poll that came out. He's probably top 15 as well.
Yeah, wow.
So they're going to get 3 top 15 picks.
far out
Just
just
straight out
from
of their
their
academy.
academy system,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
nuts.
incredible. It's changed the way that the game's been played because obviously everyone used to have the father-son, and then it's very difficult if your club doesn't have that much of a history. Like you might be a Freo who's kind of relatively new into the league. You Gold Coast, GWS, those type of teams. You don't have a father-son kind of. Your fathers haven't played there because the clubs haven't been around for that long. So it's good that they've got those academies, but it's almost unfair sometimes because they get such a big pool of all these players and they end up being superstars. So,
but the thing is, the argument now is under every comment section of anyone that's going to get drafted into state is like, oh, Vic boy is going to get drafted, and then he comes back does 3 years, and then comes back to Victoria. So I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. I guess.
yeah, I know everyone's always going to complain about something. To be honest, there's always going to be people complaining. Let's talk quickly about the difference, or maybe the similarities in what Australia is starting to become towards the American way of how sports media is produced, whether you're on ESPN or maybe you're just like a kid at a game with your phone, and that stuff always circulates around kind of American social media, and everything spreads really quickly over there.
Yeah.
And I think we've always been a little bit more behind America in terms of the way that we produce content, the way that we post our own highlights and that sort of stuff. Like it's always quite frowned upon here in Australia. If you do something like that. So it's tall poppy syndrome, it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
Australia is slowly starting to change the way that we produce content and push it out to the world. Probably you guys have been a big part of that. How have you guys seen, I guess, the transformation of the way that we have produced and spread our content out to the world?
Yeah, I reckon it's interesting because we're not coming at it from a traditional Australian way. To be honest, I think our style is pretty Americanized. I lived in America for 3 years. We both came up playing basketball, so I think that we're coming at it from a different perspective. We're not coming at it from just the evolution of an Australian person, like evolving into what, being more comfortable with media and that sort of thing. I think we're coming at it from a bit of a disruptive angle in terms of like, we are super influenced by American stuff. Like I grew up watching all the American documentaries and that sort of thing on basketball players mostly, because that's what mostly they were doing. Australia, there was nothing like that. There was nothing to really watch for footy and that sort of thing. So we're kind of coming at it from a disruptive angle, and I think it does help kind of just show what is possible in a way. Like we use rap tracks, and we use like this sort of thing that we're into, and it's very different from like normal Australian kind of culture and that sort of thing.
Do you reckon that's difficult? Like, do you reckon that one of the setbacks that your business has had is that in Australia we're not as, I guess, we don't feel as safe to just post something, repost it onto our story if it's ourselves, or like share that kind of content the way that America does?
Yeah, totally.
I think it's interesting because I think amongst the youth, it's already changed. I don't even think it's starting to change. I think it's already changed. If you go up on the street and ask anyone, and say, hey, do you like what the baseline's doing? Do you like what a prime's doing? They're all going to say yes. There's probably still like a group think around that. If they're around their mates, they might say, nah. Like, what a
But then they go home and they watch the YouTube videos.
And they go home and post some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So I think like in that age group, it's good.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Prime and I were talking the other day, and we haven't spoken about this, but like the haters that he gets and potentially that we get, they're a bit older. Like a lot of the time, they're a bit older, and it's like we do get like the support that we get is mostly from like the younger generation and that sort of thing. I think that says a lot, like, you know what I mean?
And I think that answers the question. I think where a lot of the hesitancy is that tall poppy syndrome in that older age group.
Yeah.
Like I know for us, the much older age group who control a lot of things, that becomes a bit difficult in terms of, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is where we want to take it. But even that kind of maybe like 25 plus, there's a lot of hesitancy. Like, oh, what's that guy doing?
Because that's how they've grown up.
Posting.
Right?
That's how they've grown up. But again, you look at that age group under, so that 25, that say 10 to 25, man, you just pull up to a football ground anywhere, and they're just like, oh, hang on, like calls people based on like, get me on video, I want a video, come to my game. And it's evidence, like we've started doing these community posts and just the community turnout, getting thousands of comments on a video, like people are warming up to it.
You guys could easily do like a baseline meetup and do some sort of like torpy challenge or something.
Yeah, like we're learning how to do. You're a pro at that sort of thing. We're learning how to slowly get into it. Like these community things are really big for us. It's like, all right, let's see what happens when we go to a community game, and you know we got to plan it a bit better and stuff like that. But like, you know, like we want to come out to those community games, and it's been so fun. Like just going there and meeting people and realizing that like, oh, we do have a connection. Like I can just talk to one of the players for 30 minutes. Like there's no barrier there. Like they know that they've seen our content. They know what we're about. And it's like we feel like we are in that community way more than we've probably even like, you know, attempted to reach into. So that's totally like the direction that we want to go.
Yeah.
You know, we'll say like, you know, we've got to do it. So yeah, it'll happen.
It's moving.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into the next section, I just want to say to everyone out there that's watching, Prime Train. We've got stuffs. We've got our new Prime On Wine stuff. It's absolutely going bananas on the website at the moment. The Prime On Wine stuff sold out in a bloody hour. We had 500 hoodies, 500 tees, so 1,000 garments, and they all went, which was ridiculous. We're probably going to have a restock in 2 to 3 weeks. I'm working on some sweatpants at the moment, which we're going to try and release in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be super exciting. Tees, singlets, and shorts are all on the website. So any training garments you guys might want to get for the winter, the shorts are elite. They're probably the comfiest shorts you could ever put on your legs. Training singlets, obviously elite as well. We got them in blue, black, white, and pink. So some very nice colors there. So make sure you go check them out. They'll be on the website because I've got so many of them for you guys. I don't want to sell out in them, so we're just going to keep on restocking. You can use the code podcast to get 20% off. So make sure you don't miss out on that. Obviously the subs, we're getting a restock next week. We got obviously the chocolate and vanilla flavored protein. We got creatine and then pre-workout as well. Everybody loves the pre-workout. We will be restocking that very, very soon. We just got all the labels and stuff that we've got to get done. Takes a bit of time sometimes getting them all labeled and stuff, but we are going to get that all sorted. So do go and use the code podcast to get 20% off. Also, you can check out our training programs as well. They are all absolutely flying. The AFL in-season gym program is just flying off shelves at the moment. So go and check them out on the website. Happy with that?
Absolutely, yeah. And I've seen the Prime On Wine stuff myself. It's really, really
like
good
it?
stuff. Yeah,
You like it?
So go cop it. Go cop the next restock.
We just need an express link to that.
Yeah, well,
so just sort us out.
It honestly sold out in the first, like all the popular stuff was gone, like the mediums and the larges and the hoodies, which sell out super quick. They were all gone in like probably the first 10, 15 minutes, which was just like crazy. I was watching the website. I didn't even go to footy training. I just like stayed at home to like sort it all out on the website.
Yeah.
And it was the most heartwarming thing for me was like seeing all of my friends from like that I've made throughout my life, like all my Perth friends, all my Queensland friends, like they were jumping on and like supporting it and buying it. So like that was the most heartwarming thing for me. Like it was really, really nice. So thank you to everyone that purchased. It'll all be sent out. Should all be sent out by now. So you'll definitely be getting your hands on that very, very soon. There you go. Nice little Prime little plug. Little plug. Yeah, you got to do it every potty. Just look out for yourself. All right. Let's talk about a little bit of controversy on social media, because we kind of got into a little bit there, but if someone posted, or you guys posted a video of someone, do you get like a lot of their friends commenting, oh, a bit of me time, a bit of this, bit of that kind of stuff on there?
Yeah, totally. Like I guess that was the initial narrative. Like, and you know, we've spoken about this a little bit. It's like, you know, it is a foreign thing, like posting, like nobody's ever really been posted on socials before like this. And so, you know, and also just the general, like, you know, attitude towards doing media stuff in the footy. It's a bit, you know, it is a bit like, it's easy to kind of pick on them and say, oh, a bit of me time. Like, you love the camera and that sort of thing because, you know, it makes total sense why, like, you know, footy is a team sport, and, you know, you can kind of go into that sort of thing, and I understand it.
Has it changed over the 2 years you've been doing it? Has it become more positive?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't know how to like kind of describe the change itself, but I think that, you know, in terms of numbers, you do see more reshares, you do see more positive comments, you do see more people getting around it, especially like the younger groups. But in terms of like hate, we don't receive too much hate. We're kind of lucky, I think. We don't really receive like people are interested in seeing what's, you know, we are updating people and that sort of thing. If we do receive hate, it's on a community match, or it's like, oh, why didn't you go to this game, or why didn't you go to that game, or it was a bad game to go to, or you should have gone to this game, or that sort of thing, or why did you post him, or that sort of thing. But you can't really please anyone. You can only post so many times a week. But besides that, in terms of the negative aspects in just our regular posting, I think that's really it. You know, we get, if we post sometimes, you know, sometimes we'll post a kid. We've learned this. This is a lesson that we've learned. But if we post a kid that's, you know, maybe he'll miss a goal or something like that, and then he'll get bagged for missing that goal. We've learned that that's probably not the direction that we want to be going. You
want to be posting positive content.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but that was, you know, that was just we posted. There was a post that we did. We don't really regret it too much, but like we posted it. There was a lot of backlash and saying like, oh, you know, you shouldn't have posted it. And we realized that, like, yeah, you're probably right. We probably shouldn't have posted it. So we took it down. And since then, we kind of, yeah, that's kind of our thing. We don't really post any negative things.
You learn from it, don't you?
Yeah. You want it to be a platform where kids aren't, like, you don't want to be scared that based on right. Like, and if I do something that could be embarrassing, like, they're going to check it up there, my mates are going to rip me.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just not the platform we want to be. Yeah. So moving away from that stuff.
And that's very noble. It's very noble because that stuff could get great views. You could get 1 million views if it's a massive clanger, but like
negative sales.
You're exactly right. So the way that you guys are approaching it is commendable, and it's
yeah. You're very similar though. I think you have a positive skew. I think it's, you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that you figure out pretty early like what kind of a person you want to be.
Totally.
On social media, if you're not bringing people up, then you shouldn't have a platform, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about what I've had so many questions. People want to know what camera you guys use. How do you guys edit? How does it all work? I don't want you to give all your secrets out, but could you give us just like a little tiny bit? Because I try to make my content look as good as your guys, and I just can't make it look as good, unfortunately. I think I know a little bit, but not enough. Could you guys give me any secrets of how you make it look good?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any like secret sauce or anything like that. But, you know, if you're choosing the camera, look, and we want to encourage, like, if anyone ever wants to like reach out and message us and say like, oh, what camera do you use and that sort of thing, I'll always respond, like, especially on my personal or whatever, on my personal account. Like, I'll always respond and help them out, because I think that there is so much value in like kids, you know, starting to, you know, shift towards, you know, you can pick up a camera. You can pick up a camera and like, you don't have to, you know, you're picking up a camera and starting maybe a vlog or just covering like your local, you know, nobody's covering, you know, other sports and stuff like that. So maybe they want to do that, you know, like you can do that now as a 17-year-old and you can make money from it and that sort of thing. So, and that's what I did, like, and same as Nate. It's like, you can just pick up the camera and do it yourself, especially young kids who know how social media works. And so we want to encourage that. If you get in the camera, get a Sony. What do you have?
Sony.
Yeah, the A7 III. Yeah, we're the same. So just Sony. Get a long lens.
Get it. Yeah, I think you want to aim to try and get like a I remember first doing it and I had like a 200 millimeter lens and just wasn't quite big enough. Yeah. You need like a monster, like you need a 400 millimeter lens. And they're quite expensive. So sometimes you do, if you want to make really good content, you do have to spend the money, unfortunately. Yeah. Editing, do you just use Adobe Premiere Pro?
Adobe. I live on Adobe. Yeah. My whole life. So does Nate a little bit, but we're pretty locked into Adobe. Yeah.
I think
it's the one to go for.
You have to.
And if you're a student, it's cheap.
You usually probably get it for free if you're at uni.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You want an arts course, you get it for free. Otherwise, I think I'm doing commerce, but I think we get 50% off. So it's like $40 a month or something.
I was doing journalism, so that fell under art, so I always got to use it, which was good. I'm pretty sure I still have the subscription actually.
It's good. And if you don't, it's $26 a month or whatever it is, and if you're not a student, it's like $45. So if that's a bit expensive, use anything. Use freaking iMovie. Use CapCut. Use whatever. Like you if you can make the use of what you've got, then that's
try not to make excuses. You know, like if your excuse, if your excuses are it's too expensive, then use something that's inexpensive. Yeah, exactly. You know, use your phone.
I know.
Yeah.
I started when we started Baseline. My camera, I had a Nikon D350 or something like that, right? And it's like $800 camera. I bought used the kit lens for Footy. I bought maybe a 400, which cost me maybe $500.
Yeah.
So it's like I've saved up for a year, $1,200, $1,300, and you can get a camera. It wasn't the greatest footage, but you know what? It's a start.
There's definitely
you start something, you move on, you upgrade. Yeah.
That's the way to go.
That's the way to go.
You learn so much by being out in the field and doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a lot what I've figured out as well.
Totally.
Let's go through a few Q&As because I've got a lot here.
Let's do it.
People love it. Yeah. People love you guys. They absolutely love you, and I know why. What makes you guys, when you put up those stories and you're like, what game should we go to this weekend? I reckon how many comments do you reckon you got?
We got probably like 2,000.
Okay, 2,000. That's ridiculous.
So the first post, I think it was like 1,000 in the first 4 hours or something like that.
How do you choose what game you go to in 1,000 comments? Because there's a lot of options.
Yeah, that's it. No, we're getting better at choosing it. I don't know. The first couple of weeks, because we said it was random, but it's hard to be random when so we got to figure out.
It's randomized.
Don't ruin it for everybody.
I know, that's it. We want to be able to get everyone.
It's randomized within what we can do. Because the reality is we've only got so much resources. Like it's me and Iggy. Yeah. We've got things we have to cover. So it's like, all right, we'll set aside a time. We'll say, all right, we've got between 2 and 6 available. And we'll go through and be like, all right, all these games are between 2 and 6. And then from there, it's just free for all, whether it's the top post or the most interesting comment, whatever just catches our eye. And we're just like, that guy's putting some effort, or they've got people.
We want to urge people to potentially, if you want us to come out to your game, we want to do it, but we need to see that you're gonna have some, you're gonna have a bit of community around there. There's gonna be a bit of energy. So if anyone wants to,
even we don't promote this on the post, but even chuck us a cheeky DM.
Chuck us a cheeky DM.
If you send us something
interesting, make a video. Make an interesting video, whatever.
Why we want you.
We need the comment on the post, but you want to go the extra bit, you might just catch our eye. Send us something interesting through DM. Maybe it's a video. Maybe it's just a message. Whatever catches our eye, we might come out to your game.
But we do want to cover everyone, and we do want to get around everyone. So it's and it's tough. And also we want to also branch out to women's games as well, and that sort of thing. Just do a bunch of that sort of stuff. So girls as well. Please DM us and. Not like that, but
but girls, I'm begging you, please somebody DM me. So dry. DMs are that dry, it's ridiculous. Driest DMs in the history. Why have you guys stopped filming APS games?
Good question. Nate's all over it.
Talk to me, Nate. And APS, make sure you talk to me nicely.
Man, APS games. It's not complicated. It's just that...
It is complicated.
It's just that it's so complicated.
Okay. Could you give us any type of information?
Yeah. The schools won't let us film.
Okay.
Actually, let's set it straight right now.
Yeah.
One school lets us film.
Yes.
And that school... I'm going to look straight at the camera. So that school is Caulfield Grammar School.
Shout out Caulfield.
So shout out Caulfield. Everyone's saying Baseline Caulfield on our posts. There's a reason. So if you want us out at your school... We just need people to start working on the schools. Talk to
So Caulfield's the only one that lets you film.
Caulfield's the only one that lets us film.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh man, there's so many issues. All the big schools are concerned with child privacy, which I fully understand because a lot of the kids are under the age of 18. So it makes sense. But I think also a lot of it is branding.
It's also promotion.
Well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
promotional for them.
But it's hard. If you look at the APS, especially this year, last year not so much, this year, the difference between the best schools and the worst schools, I don't think has ever been wider. We're seeing 100-point wins every season. And the issue is we go to these schools and say, hey, we want to cover your school. And then they're looking at us. They're not saying it to us. This is kind of what we're thinking. But hey, if we're going to lose by 100 points every week, we don't want to be on baseline.
Right. It's bad for our school image.
It's bad for the school image. So that's the difficulty we find when going to these schools and saying, hey, let's work out an agreement. Let's get coverage of this school. But for us,
okay, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because for us, the biggest thing is like, we want to just be promoting the achievement within the league. Like there's a bunch of boys, like there's a kid, Charlie Edwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a household name at Melbourne Grammar School. And the first 4 rounds in the APS, he's averaging something like 39 touches per game. And that's something where the school hasn't been doing the best. But we want to be there and be like, hey, a kid at this school
He's dominating.
He's dominating. Like 38 touches. He should be getting AFL interest just off the back of that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of boys. There was a few boys last year. Tom Ferguson, who was an Oakley Chargers boy. But before we'd covered him at St. Kevin's, I don't think he'd even debuted for the Oakley Chargers. And we went out to a few games and back-to-back games, ended up having, I think it was like 38 touches and 2 goals and 41 touches and 3 goals. And we ended up posting some stuff. And I don't know if he received anything from that. But for us, it's like, hey, we want to get this guy out there in front of scouts. Pretty much every list manager, every scout, every agent is following us. So they see this stuff. And we want to be like, hey, there's kids in the APS who can play, or there's kids in the AGS, there's kids in the ACC who can play. Any school league. We just want to get them out there. We're not trying to put down any schools for losing. It's not what it's about. It's, hey, there's kids in this league who can play and deserve a shot at the AFL. That's what we're trying to do.
Do you think that recruiters are watching your content and they see someone playing well and it gives them a little bit of interest?
I don't know. I don't think about it. Yeah.
No, I'm going to pull up a story, and this could be completely false. I'm going to say a disclaimer, but we have a mate who was doing a internship at a pretty big AFL club.
Right.
And what he was doing was in the recruiting department. And this could be completely false, so take this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But he was telling me that we posted a kid, and a bunch of the recruiting managers at the club looked at each other and were like, are you serious? Like, why did they post this guy? Because they were keen on this smoky prospect, and then we put him out there, and then they were thinking like, damn. Like,
wow, really?
Like people know now.
Yeah.
So could be false, but
there could be some things here and there. But I do think that the recruiters do a really good job. Obviously, like there's guys that are on top of it. But media's a different thing now. Like you never know. Like if we post a video and it gets 100,000 views or whatever, that could get to the eyes of someone that wouldn't normally see it and wouldn't normally see. They might be watching it from the stands as opposed to the angle that we get, and so it might be
And it's not even AFL opportunities. Maybe there's a guy who's a fringe athlete, and maybe a Sandful scout sees it who they don't have the budget to come down and scout NAB League.
Yeah.
Coates Talent League. Sorry, AFL.
Yeah.
Coates Talent League talent. Maybe they see it and be like, hey, maybe we should have a look at this guy, get tabs on him. And look, we don't know for sure that this is happening, but with the views that it's getting, I'm sure it's getting to people who are seeing it.
Yeah.
And kids are getting opportunities. So I guess that's the biggest thing for us. It's just, hey, we're just trying to get opportunity.
That's
crazy. Definitely it is with basketball. Definitely with basketball, we've seen kids get scholarships and looks and stuff off of purely our footage. Like we'll have coaches hit us up, and we've had a really high profile coach hit us up and say, this kid's not the best, this kid's the best, and like really get into us and stuff like that. And like I don't know, a lot of people are doing their recruiting from our page and from other basketball pages, so we know that's happening in basketball. But it's interesting. It's an interesting concept, but I don't know. We don't know.
Hey,
you don't think about it though. You don't think when you're posting, you just we're just trying to cover the league.
Yeah. Well, it's what comes with it, and I guess that's going to lead me into my next question: is the goal to eventually do AFL videography?
Yeah, that'd be fire. I don't know. There's TV rights and that sort of thing. That'd be fire though. That'd be
the issue is Channel 7 paying something like $4 billion for the TV rights.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's something we'd love to get into.
Give you guys a cut of that. I reckon it'd be nice.
I'll be honest.
Channel 7 execs. Channel 7 execs, hit us up.
They all listen to the potty. They are massive fans of it. So you can say whatever you want to them because they'll listen.
Channel 7 is my favourite news platform. I listen to the news every night.
Channel 7, listen up, baby, listen up. So that's the goal.
Potentially, I think we are always going to be rooted in like grassroots footy. So I don't think that we want to move up to the next level and have our core be the next level, whether that's possible or not, I don't know. But I think we do want to maintain our feet, in the sand, in the grassroots footy. I think that's like really where we're going to build. And geez, there's a lot of it. Like how many games are being played, like community footy and local footy and even, across, Sandford, Waffle, this sort of thing. Like there's a lot and we're not even covering all of it. So like first step is to really like,
I think for us, we're just going in the opposite direction. Like we could go towards the AFL, but with the community stuff we've been doing recently, we're just trying to get more into the community. How can we get out to more games?
Yeah.
I know last year I went out to what's the Ballarat League? Is it BFNL? I went out to a Ballarat League final. You just go out there and just to support these country leagues get. It's just huge. It's crazy. I think for us, we just see that. We're like, man, this needs to be seen. People need to see this. People just love community footy. Like, if I want to go play this weekend, I'm not going to play for the Essendon Football Club. I'm going to play for Oak Park Football Club. My local club. So just getting around that and giving it the love it deserves. Really.
Yeah, 100%.
I reckon I've got two more questions. Yeah. First one, I want to ask you guys both. You've obviously done a lot of metro games, a lot of country games. You've done a lot of, West Australian games as well. Where's next for you for a state? So WA, South Australia. Where's next for you for a country game? And where's next for you, do you reckon, for a metro game?
In terms of the community games and stuff?
Yeah. So where's next are you going to travel to go? Like it might be a sample game, maybe not, but it might be a South.
What is that? So
might be a Northern Territory game.
We've got a busy schedule the next month. Nate's more on top of it than I am. He just tells me where to go and I go.
And you rock up.
Yeah, that's it.
So don't get in my DMs asking me to schedule for you.
So so we've got, where are we going? There's the national championships are coming up. So all under 18s and under 16s.
Yeah, so we're going to be in Adelaide. Throughout the month of July, I think we're in Adelaide twice.
Cool.
And then I think we're in Perth twice as well.
Cool.
So there's potentially some room to go out to a few either local or Waffle Colts, Sandford under 18s games. So that's on the cards.
Definitely try to squeeze that in. And then, so state, we haven't done much Sandford stuff and we want to do Sandford stuff way more. We did a couple of weekends. There was no talent league. So we did a couple of weekends in the Waffle and that did really well. So we definitely want to go back there. So either tossing up between SA or WA, maybe we split it.
I'm gonna jump in here too. We need a little bit of a shameless plug, but we're always trying to expand the team. So
that's it.
Grab a camera, especially if you're in WA or SA.
Love it,
man. We're just looking for it.
Love it.
We were in WA earlier this year, and the
content was crazy, bro.
And the content was crazy. So we're just trying to figure out how we can get someone on the ground there, how we can start pumping content out of both those states because they're both footy in their hearts. Yeah. So we want to be there. We want to be covering it, and
that's what I love. Country games.
Yeah, country games. So you probably Prime's tried to try. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Maybe we might have to go to Wangaratta, the Derby. That might be the next one.
If we can fit it in the schedule. I know you guys are very busy.
Derby, by the way.
I don't know, mate. I don't even know who we're playing.
We'll have to go. That's interesting. We'll have to go.
I'll send you through the dates. I'll send you through the calendar because that would be crazy.
We'll be in the Wang. So if you've got games up there, if if I'm
playing like I've been playing, there won't be any highlights of me. Just to finish off, I firstly want to plug Whoop. Make sure you guys go check out the Whoop bands. They're fantastic. You guys use the Whoop band before? Have you heard a bit about it?
I want to.
They're absolutely elite.
I've seen them all on your site.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So. Pretty much wear them all the time, every day. They track your sleep, your strain, your recovery. They're fantastic for any athletes out there as well, especially if you're playing kind of footy or anything. It gives you a really good idea of how much, recovery you have to do throughout the week. So you're just absolutely feeling elite for the weekend. How much strain and how many workouts you want to do throughout the week, so you're I guess optimized to play to the best of your ability on the weekend. So make sure you guys go check out those Whoop bands. My link should just be down in the podcast notes or in the YouTube description. They are absolutely elite. Now, to finish off, lads, something that I ask all of my guests that come on, can you guys please give me 3 successful habits that you guys have employed throughout your entire life that has helped you get to where you are today and the success that you have today?
3 successful habits for me. Definitely. So it's a balance of life. So figuring out how to not be over obsessed with my work, and that's maybe hanging out with friends or seeing family and that sort of thing, which I can easily push off, and it's very common in media and this sort of area that we work. Exercising every day just makes me feel better, and then getting 8 hours of sleep, because I can easily just do 3-4 hours or 5 hours and think that I'm all right, but it's never enough.
It's never enough. You always feel terrible the next day. What about for you?
Yeah, I think number one, just off what you said, I think just keeping your body right, just eating good food, exercising, sleeping. That's all super important. But I'll lump 2 things into one. But I think we spoke about this earlier, but just getting started on something. If you have an idea, you just got to do it, and don't overthink. So they're my 2. So get started, don't overthink, because the issue is you could come up with this genius idea, and who knows, it could be a flop or it could be the biggest thing ever. But if you're sitting there just thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? Who do I need to talk to do it? Like, just do it. Yeah. Just do it, get started. And from where baseline started to where it is now, at point A, never would have thought that it is where we are right now. Like, sitting in the podcast room, got 75,000 followers just on the Footy platform that support us. Never would have thought that we'd have that. But pretty much just get started, ride the journey, and just go where it takes you, pretty much.
Crazy. Mate, you guys are just doing amazing things. And like I said before, everyone is so grateful and thankful for what you guys do for the footy community, but like just the overarching kind of media community as well in Australia. I think that the direction that it's all going is super exciting, and we couldn't have done it probably without you guys, your initiative, and then probably your hard work as well. So we all appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Those are kind words, and it's just really appreciate you kind of having us on and just being able to speak about this. And also you've showed us a lot of support over the time that you've known us and that sort of thing. So mate, thank you to you as well.
No worries, lads. No worries. Well, thanks for coming on the potty, and I guess I'll see you guys next time.
That's it.